And here's Gene Shepard.
Tuxedos. Yeah, well, they fit anybody. They can be washed. Clean up there, please. Have this rubber tie, you snap out and pop back. Maybe. Oh, we have many services here for those of you out there. How about a celluloid shirt? Would you like one of those? You just dip it in the water, put it out, Come on, sing, Joe. Sing. That's it. You're singing. Oh, you dancing, singing fool, Shepherd, you.
And here is tonight's salute to Charles Corot.
Hey, listen, I have to confess something. It's confession time. Once in a while we have to do this. Yeah, somebody wrote me the other day and said, you watch a lot of bad stuff on old late-night television. Well, first of all, I'm not a television fan, in spite of the fact I have a TV show, and maybe that's why. But I'm not a television fan. Well, let's face it, baseball players ain't baseball fans, are they, Joe? No way. No. Now, wait a minute. You're confusing a professional interest with being a fan. A fan sits out there with a Mets hat on his head and eats popcorn and yells. Anytime you see Tom Seaver doing that, I want to see the picture taken of it. No, Joe, you're a mad fool. That infuriates everybody. Most pros aren't fans. However, I must confess that I do have a certain deep set, almost insatiable hunger to watch late at night indescribably bad movies. It's a form of masochism. I have to confess that there must be something to that. I don't know many people that would sit through an entire 90-minute 1932 movie starring Jeffrey Lynn and Lola Lane. Ah, the millions crying out their approval. Let's hear it. Cheers. My God, yes. Thank you. I do. I concede. I do. I do deserve a little applause. Another thing, I tell you, I can't understand people who watch and listen to and involve themselves with mass media. Here I am. I'm in this situation. Up to my, and there's no way to get out of it. But I never understand. It's a great one. You ever notice? From this night lady, enhancing, passing, tongue-in-cheek, sardonic non-humor a week or two ago, I mentioned the fact that we had roughly 5 listeners. I just threw that out. I get this nice letter from this lady who says the following. Dear Mr. Shepard, the this thing. The radio station, the power of the station that you're on, and a program with such obvious talent and humor to have only 5 listeners. I think this is really disgraceful. And since I have one of those 5 listeners, I would like to know if I can get in touch with the other forward. So possibly we can get together and possibility of social involvement with one another, since obviously we have certain things in common. pretend that he really was J. Cheever Lupo, legal. And people would write up and say, would you handle my case, Groucho? I mean, sure, you remember what he was like. Would you please give me another cheer, Joe? I need it right now. Thank you. Everybody needs a cheer button in his life. Thank you. Oh, God, that's wonderful. Thank you. At ease. I said at ease. All right, company. This company's going to have the best morale in the whole damn Army. And I'll tell you, if we don't have the best damn morale in the whole damn Army, I'm going to do some busting. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be sniping a lot of butts in this company if we don't have good morale. And we are going to have it. Let's hear it now, men. Thank you, men. Thank you. At ease. Now, are there any questions? All right, men, all out. That was very good. That was very good. I do that but much better than Rod Steiger, who always looks a little embarrassed in everything he does. So, would you please, if you will, Joe, with the circulation. Well, so you had a hard week, New York, right? So the Barkley would like to make an omelet just for you at the Barkley Brunch this Sunday. Their brand new omelet chef is appearing every Sunday right in the dining room. He's surrounded by fabulous fixings, delicious condiments waiting to be put into an omelet. You want a jack cheese omelet? Mm-hmm. A few strips of bacon and some plump avocado? Well, you just say so. And then you watch that omelet chef go to town. He goes out of his bird. You'll feel that it just isn't brunch without eggs Benedict, perhaps, or chicken prep, oysters Rockefeller, or quiche Lorraine. Well, they have a lavish menu, too. Anyway, it's the Barkley Hotel for brunch, Sunday, 11:30 until 3 o'clock at 111 East 48th Street. The elegant Barkley. Frozen Three Musketeers bar? Did you ever have a Three Musketeers bar? Did you ever have a Powerhouse candy bar? Well, they were always frozen, even when they weren't. I mean, they were the hardest. I know one guy that in one brief 15-second moment of later regretted ecstasy, he destroyed $1,200 worth of dental work with one Powerhouse candy bar. Wiped the entire... I mean, it was fantastic. I was right there when it happened. It was in the Army. And a bunch of us were standing there, standing around outside the PX. And the only thing you could do, that's one of the great things about being in the armed services, is to begin, you notice that you get, Joe, you were in, you notice you get very basic interests at all times. Your life is not complicated by, say, tax returns. Your life is not complicated by estimated income. Your life is not complicated by all the stuff that you get in your mailbox every day. No way. You just sort of stand around outside the PX, and, and one day this guy walks in. We're all standing around the PX. Of course, see, the reason the PX was so fantastically alluring to us, especially in this period in our let's say in our rites of passage through the men-at-arms scene, in this one brief moment, there was a girl who worked in the PX, and the entire camp of 136,000 guys were aiming at her. It's tremendous. I just wonder where she is today. Probably she can't listen. It must be discouraging, though, to have a scene where you are absolutely at the unbelievable pinnacle of all existence and then have it disappear. Now, she's probably just messing around somewhere in a dime store someplace, working in the notions department, and nobody cares one way or the other. But there was a time when Marie, behind a cash register at the PX, had 136,000 guys who had only one thought every time they went to the PX. They all pretended they were looking for a Milky Way bar, or you come in there and pretend you're trying to buy a Hershey bar. But long lines of guys would stand in silent contemplation of the total, complete wonder of the female. I just wonder how many women know what
let's say, have you ever, when you were in school, do you remember taking a course in physics when this guy took this magnet, this electromagnet, and he put iron filings around it? You know, and he says, now this is the way the magnetic field works, and you see these lines of force. I wonder how many women realize that they are basically the most powerful electromagnet that the world has ever created. You agree, Joe? And men are but iron filings. Oh, well, listen. Joe doesn't want to accept that. He likes to believe that they're all unbelievably in love with him. But as a matter of fact, Joe, this is merely one of the great illusions that man has always suffered. And they have written great dramas about Lysistrata, for heaven's sakes, Joe. I know that did not appear on TV. And TV Guide is not going to deal with Sophocles. And I'm very certain that Aristophanes has eluded you, Joe. But this has been a problem ever since the very earliest days of the Roman Greco Empire. And, incidentally, this is WOR, speaking of empires, in New York. Would you please hit the money button?
According to the current issue of TV Guide magazine, Washington Redskins coach George Allen claims that a videotape camera with an official monitoring it has a place in pro football. The NFL owners disagree. Their reasons for rejecting the instant replay as an aid to officiating make interesting reading. In the same issue, TV Guide explains what some people are doing when products don't work and services don't serve. Don't miss this report on how some law students and TV stations are combining forces to help consumers. This week's cover story looks at how the other % lives. It may sound like a wine list with names like the Rothschild and D'Orléans, but it's really a guest list for a 90-minute special. Don't miss a word and picture report on Barbara Walters' visit with young royalty. This week in TV Guide, America's biggest selling magazine. On sale everywhere.
All right, Vitamin fans, we have our Sears man bit here again for tonight. You can buy 100 squib Theragran or Theragran M tablets at the regular price, and you get 30 extra. That's 30 extra is roughly a month's supply, free, at no extra cost, but the offer is limited according to the copy here. So get your Theragran by Squib now. It's the brand that physicians and pharmacists recommend most. Now, where are they to be seen? Drug Fair, Wood Avenue and Oak Tree Road in Edison, New Jersey. The Drug Fair at Inman Avenue in Colonia, New Jersey. And Drug Fair at the Kingston Mall in Kingston, New Jersey. And let's see, it says also, don't forget to tune into this week's Jets football game, sponsored in part by your local Squib Theragran pharmacist, Theragran M, and Theragran without the minerals. Incidentally, the one with the M means that it has minerals in it. So it's Theragran by Squib. Whoopee. Oh, boy, that was exciting. Keep them rolling with the Long Island Press. Every Thursday, the Long Island Press publishes a special do-it-yourself column of auto repairs that can save you many dollars in expensive repair bills. Learn the exciting, thrilling new hobby of valve grinding. It's really exciting. Learn how to replace new gaskets and mufflers and, just get under there and get that old grease going. It's really exciting. Join the Prestige Group, the more than million Long Island Press readers, and keep your car rolling. Let them all sing it out on behalf of whatever it is. Yeah. Oh, never cut the mic on the General Tire commercial. We sing this one. Someday you'll own. Someday you'll own. Yeah. Somewhere later you'll own the Generals. Oh, that's such a sad song. So beautiful. Brings tears to the old eyeballs. With so many kinds of tires coming out, you're going to have to get this straight, though, friends. You've been walking around scratching your head trying to figure out the right one. Well, we've got the solution, of course. It's your General Tire specialist. Guess who? Trained to handle all your tire needs. He can put them on your roller skates, everything you got there. Your General Tire specialist is just one reason why, sooner or later, you'll own Generals. See him soon. Why don't you go down and see old Harold at General Tire Company on Clinton Avenue in Newark. Just walk in and sing it out to Harold. Sooner or later, you'll own Generals. Yes. Boom, boom, boom. Sooner or later, you'll own the Generals. Well, here's an important message, gang, for mature people, age 18 to 80. That's really mature. Here's your chance to come to life. at the brand new Englewood Cliffs campus of St. Peter's College, which is New Jersey's 103-year-old young center of learning. You can build your career, meet interesting people, have a lot of fun, and studying is always a kick. You can take courses in the humanities during the day or business administration at night, accountancy or art, history, writing, philosophy of marketing, data processing, or women's studies. And incidentally, these are all available full credits towards a bachelor's degree. The faculty of St. Peter's is recognized for its excellence in the field of higher education. Now, registration is going on right now. So if you'd like to register and go to school again and help your life move on a little bit, it's at the Palisades. Your future awaits you on the Palisades, 1 mile north of the GW Bridge at the new Englewood Cliffs campus of St. Peter's. And if you'd like the details, call Dr. Catherine Restaino. That's Dr. Catherine Restaino. That's area 201, and the number is 568-7730. That's 201-568-7730.
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm Schaffer people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm Schaffer people.
I'm Schaffer people, too, because Schaffer flavor lasts beer after beer. It's like they've been saying, it's the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Me, I like my second beer to taste as good as my first. That's why I'm Schaffer people. Isn't everyone?
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm Schaffer people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm Schaffer people. Schaffer beer goes straight to your thirst. Your last one tastes as good as your first. Go out and get a Schaffer and be Schaffer people too. Go out and get a Schaffer and be Schaffer people too.
The F&M Schaffer Brewing Company, New York, New York.
This is it, folks. The 1975 Jets football season gets underway Sunday afternoon at 12:35 here over WOR Radio. This is Marty Glickman. Won't you join me and Dave Herman as we describe all the live Jet action against the Buffalo Bills, pitting the passing arm of Joe Willie against the running feet of O.J. Simpson. That's this Sunday afternoon at 12:35 here over WOR Radio, the flagship station of the Jets network.
You're listening to a guy who actually loves hot weather. I love it. I really do. I mean, air conditioning, I don't need. No, I love hot weather. It is. There's a certain eroticism, heat. And I'll never forget, somebody wrote me a note and says, Shepard, what do you do, sometimes when you're sitting around late at night? And they went on to ask other things, but I'm not going to, this is ridiculous. I'm just telling you that late at night is when the mind begins to nuzzle its way through the murky streams of imagination. And I think a lot of people go to bed too early, and in so doing, their mind never really is, let's say, unleashed. I would recommend for therapy to a lot of people I know. And no present company involved, but I would like to recommend as therapy once a week, as therapy, staying up till 5 in the morning. I mean that. No matter what you have to do the next day. Staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning. Have you ever stayed awake for 3 straight days? I have. In fact, I once stayed awake for almost 4 straight days. And that is an experience. At the end of the second day, you stop being tired. And you get a curious kind of high feeling. It's not really, it's almost a hallucinatory feeling. It's as if you're sort of floating a little bit, and voices come to you, and there's an occasional echo chamber effect. And then at the end of the third day, it's a whole different scene. One of the times that I experienced a thing like this one time was somebody wrote and said to me, and I'm going to quote this letter here because it's really what I was thinking of doing tonight. Somebody wrote and said, "What's the worst night you ever spent?" It's a good question.
What's the worst night you ever... The worst... In other words, the worst time you can remember in your life. See, everybody talks about what's the most exciting time, what's the most, the happiest time. But what's the worst single night that you can remember? Well, I can tell you without any question. I can remember it very well. And it was spent in a hole. In a hole. I mean, a hole in the ground. And it was spent with another guy who was also in the hole in the ground, and we were both soldiers. And we had dug this hole, and we had not slept for roughly 36 hours. Unshaven. Have you ever gone for, say, 4 weeks without a shower? That's a feeling. And without even taking your clothes off. No, that's the truth. I mean, these are things which most people have never really experienced. And once you've experienced this, it's an unforgettable feeling. It is. And this particular night, we had this hole dug in the ground. It was about we thought with our little, each guy had what they call an entrenchment system, just a little shovel. One guy had a shovel and the other guy had a pick. You were assigned different things. One guy had a shovel, and the idea was to get with a guy that had a pick if you had a shovel. So if you had a shovel, you couldn't, if you were with another guy that had a shovel and you needed a pick, you were in trouble. See, so you get together. One guy has a shovel, one guy has a pick, right? So it just so happened that Goldberg had this pick, and I had a shovel. Well, not a shovel, just a little spade-like thing, and it fits into a handle, and it folds, and it sticks in your pack. See? So we had dug this hole, and it was just absolutely almost impossible to dig. It was rocky. It was rocks and gravel and hard-packed clay, and we dug this hole in the dark. It was about 9 o'clock. We dug the hole in the dark in a driving, freezing rain. So we chopped away, until finally we got a hole that was about, probably 2.5 feet deep. It was a shallow saucer shape, but we couldn't get any deeper, see? So we decided, well, what we're going to do is make the hole with a groove down the middle, so at least there'd be one part that's a little deeper than the other. See, well, we're going to make it a big straight down hole. So we did. We carved this hole that was V-shaped if you took a cross section. So we like crazy. And we finally got the hole as far as we were going to go. We were so feeling so rough, we didn't give a damn. You ever get to the point where you don't care what happens? I mean, anymore. So we climbed down in the hole, see? And the rain is coming down. And coming down. And I hear Goldberg flailing around on the groove next to me, see? His foot comes out of the mud. It was clay, see? And then he'd struggle around, and he had his pack, see, and he was laying his head on a pack, and the pack kept sinking into the clay. And the next thing you know, his ears are in the clay, see, and they'd pull the pack out of the mud. So he'd go, he'd pull it out, and then he'd swear. I never knew Goldberg could swear so. In fact, it wasn't a matter of the words he was saying; it was the intensity. It was the way the words curved and bounced and slithered came out. And I'm laying in silence, and the rain is coming down. And all of a sudden, it was about 4 in the morning. No way, the wind is blowing, and this water is slowly filling up until finally we're laying there in the water. See, this is water now. What we've carved, really, is a very small, freezing wading pool. And we are laying in the middle of it. So that's what we hear. We hear coming from a distance. We hear something coming. Say, what the hell now? Yeah. And then there's a slithering sound, and another guy falls in the hole with us. See, and the waves go. Goldberg says, "Will you knock it off? What are you doing in our hole?" The guy's laying there. He says, "Shut up." And the wind. Water. We can't see this guy. He can't see us. All three of us are laying in the hole. And there had been passed down the order. Absolutely no lights. No way, no lights. And so we're laying in the water there, and Goldberg says, I gotta have a cigarette. Now, I don't smoke. See? I said, shut up, Goldberg. He said, knock it off. He added another famous GI phrase, which I cannot repeat. This is classified material. Even at this date, it's highly secret. I says, oh, yeah. It's the kind of ad lib you think after 36 hours of not sleeping and you're laying in a hole. Oh, yeah. So this other guy's quiet. He's saying nothing. See, he's laying down there in the mud, face down. Just face down. You can see it's the top of his helmet, so he's face down. And Goldberg hollers at this guy and says, hey, you got a light, soldier? Nothing. He says nothing. Goldberg says, okay. Well, laying in the dirt and the rain's coming down. All of a sudden, the other guy, the soldier, this new, our friend, says, I got a light if you got a cigarette. Goldberg says, okay. And so I hear him. You can hear this. You hear these feet sucking around, trying to get up. And of course, remember, this is absolutely illegal, what they're about to do, see? So I swim over. I said, what the hell, any port in a storm, I'll have a cigarette, too. I was desperate. I'd do anything. And so I roll over, and the water pours in on me, and I face my head. Incidentally, it was so watery and so wet, it was like turning your boat around. When you went around, it was like facing your ship into the wind. So I turn around, and here I see these huddled characters, and one of them's got a hold of a shelter half. Now, a shelter half is a piece of canvas, really, and it's supposed to be waterproof. Forget it. It's about as waterproof as a towel, and so they're pulling his shelter half out, see, because every time this guy lights a match, you see a match go, the wind and the water goes out, see, so they can't get this thing lit. So they pull the shelter half over. Well, I stick my head in the shelter half, and now the three of us are under the shelter half. And it's absolutely unbelievably dark. It goes black. See, we're under the shelter, and the water is coming down on the top of it. It's freezing all over the place. And Goldberg says, okay, says, I'll light the match. Give me the match. The guy says, okay, you light it. So he hands it to Goldberg, and Goldberg's huddled, and I can see his hands in the dark. See? And at that point, he says, okay, give me a cigarette. The other guy says, all right. So they got the 2 cigarettes. I said, give me one. So somebody hands me one in the dark. You hear the rain. You hear once in a while footsteps go by the hole. At that point, Goldberg lights the match. I see Goldberg's face. Goldberg's face looked like a cantaloupe with hair. Yeah, his helmet down, his eyeballs sort of red. He had no sleep for 36 hours. His eyeballs are red. You see these big bags. He's got a heavy growth of beard, and Goldberg's holding this mat, see, underneath this helmet, underneath this shelter hat. So you can see the top of his helmet green. And it was then that I saw it. This other guy's got his helmet on. And on the helmet is a silver eagle. You didn't even know what a silver eagle is? No, you didn't. Did you ever see a person with a silver eagle on his back? Never did. They haven't. You never heard of chicken kernel? You mean you never saw it? You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't understand it. Of course not. This is a kernel. He's laying on roads. This was a eagle. And the odor had come down from the kernel, not the smoke. The colonel's laying in this hallway. He said, watch that cigarette. Give me it. So all the 3 of us are laying in the hole with this shelter half over us, and you can see that silver eagle gleaming. There's no difference between the 3 of us. We're laying there. He's sucking away at the cigarette, and then finishes the cigarette. It's dark now under the shelter half, and he says, don't say nothing. Goldberg says, No. Sir, no. He says, don't give me no sir on his shoulder hat. Don't say nothing. Gopher says, no. At that point, he pulls back the shelter hat, and he gets up out of the hole, water dripping down all over us, and he runs away into the darkness. We just lay there. About a half an hour, finally Gopher says, what the hell was that? I said, it was a colonel. He said, I know that, stupid. What was he doing in the hole here with us? He said, how the hell do I know? Rain's coming down. And early the next morning, at 10 minutes past 5, the battalion was strung out in the rain. Still no sleep. And up there ahead in the Jeep, sitting there, was the same guy, the Eagle. And he drives past the battalion in the Jeep, and splashing the water all over us. He just looks, says nothing. Goldberg looks, says nothing. I looked and said nothing. Then way down at the end of the line, somebody hollered, "Come on, Brian!" And we slogged off in the goo. You like that night? It was never mentioned again. But then there was another night. I'll tell you about another night. You want to hear another bad night? Oh, well, I mean, you have also bad nights when you're just least expecting it. One night, this was in college. One night, I had gotten a note from my chemistry instructor at 4 o'clock that afternoon, and I was swinging to this point. You know, there's times in your life when everything all fits together, and it's so great. Oh, man, you know, I had met a girl about 3 weeks before in school. And did you ever have, David, I'll have to ask you this question. And you don't have to answer it. Did you ever have a college romance? No? Well, you missed it. I'll tell you, that's a special experience. And I have fallen unbelievably in love with this girl. You know, well, you think, yeah. You know the thing where you can hardly wait to see her. Every 5 minutes you're trying to get in touch. You know the feeling, you know. Running down the stairs to meet her and all that stuff, and running across campus, and then she's not there. What the hell happened? She's 5 minutes late. You know, you imagine her having a scene with this basketball player. You find, you know, and one night, right in the peak of my ecstasy, my absolute everything was coming together. Life was one long song. I got a note encased in an envelope. And I didn't even open it. See, I just, you know, I'm fat, dumb, and happy. You know, I go to dinner down at the cafeteria, you know, and I eat the meatloaf and the mashed potatoes, and I wash it down with the Kool-Aid, you know, and this stuff, and I go drifting back to the dormitory, saying I'm going to have this date. See, so I go into the dormitory, I throw my books into the room, and I go running back out in the hall and go down and go across the lawn. And there I meet this girl. Her name was Effie. I'll never forget her. Effie. Terrible name. I meet Effie, see, and Effie and I, we had this scene where, you know, just like you see in bad movies, you know, where she comes running down the steps and you come running, you know, the arms. I say, Effie. She says, wow. And we had this brief moment of ecstasy. And we went down, we had a Coke, we had a hot dog, we walked around the campus, and all the while I'm not realizing what's about to face me. I come back to my room, and I walk in. It's 10 o'clock. I say, I think I get to bed early tonight. What the hell, you know? And I walk in, and my books are laying there. And sticking out of an English textbook was that unopened envelope from this teacher. At that point, I said, take a look at this. I figure, you know, he's saying something like, there will be a meeting of the biology club. How about you showing up? So I opened the thing up, and it said, you are failing chemistry. Unless you pass a special exam, which I'm going to give you tomorrow at 4, you will be done in my course. And all of a sudden, it all collapsed. I mean, because I have to add one more thing, and this is sort of an addenda to it. Why it is? I thought
that I had been making it back in chemistry. And that night, I stayed up all night looking at a textbook of carbon compounds primarily, organic chemistry, and for some reason or other, nothing made sense. Have you ever had where your head just won't work? Unbelievable, pal. And I just sat there all night looking at this thing, going back over page after page, saying to myself, "Now read it. Start at the beginning. These are English sentences. These are English words." I start at the top. The organic, the carbon compounds consist of. I couldn't think of what the word consist meant even. Consist. What do you mean consist? Hey, Gasser, what does consist mean? Oh, shut up, stupid. I can't. I'm on the phone. Oh, God. That night dragged by. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I knew I was dead. Put the thing down. I went out in the hall, called up Effie. It was Effie on failing chemistry. I woke her up in her sorority house. She said, "What?" I said, "I'm failing chemistry." She said, "Why are you telling me?" I said, "Well, I'm going to flunk out." She said, "Well, don't bother me. I'm asleep." She hung up. I said, "Don't bother me. I'm asleep." That afternoon at 4 o'clock, I went into the chemistry lab, and Mr. Ryerson said, "Well, are you all ready?" There were 4 other guys in there. They also were victims. All 4 looked exactly like I did. Their eyes red, fear haunting their faces. They sat silently. He passed out the exams. Blue book. You know the little blue book? He passed out mimeograph formula, various problems. He said, "Okay." He said, "I want this done by 6 o'clock. And I started work. And what happened that instant? My head came back to life. And by 5:30, I finished the exam, gave it to him. He took one look at it. He says, "Don't worry, it's okay." Go. Thank you, gang. Oh, God, I can't tell you how I appreciate it. Oh, every one of us is human in these days, this time, this quiet, dripping life through the vast siphon of existence. He has no ignorance. Can you imagine? You know what titration is? You've seen this, you add the solution, and you've got the little valve down at the bottom, and you're counting the drops, and then you're waiting for that moment when the solution that you're titrating turns this bright red or this bright orange color, and you're adding drop after drop, drop after drop. Have you ever thought of life as one long titration process? And they're adding the drops. They are adding the drops. You're not. Something's adding. You don't know what it is. And the drops of solution are coming in. You're waiting for this whole thing to turn this beautiful bright orange, and you'll know then that you've reached the critical point of total ecstasy. You've never considered life as a... Listen, you've come to the right spot on the dial. This just ain't the Johnny Carson show, buddy. Right up there. Goldberg, wherever you are. Colonel, wherever you are. I'll never forget that gleaming silver eagle under the shelter hat with the driving rain. You thought only Rip Torn did that stuff, huh? Salute to Charles Corral.
This is WOR New York. Stay tuned for In Conversation.
Mobil Oil Corporation presents In Conversation, a half hour of lively talk meant to enlighten and involve you, the listener. Tonight, Jane O'Reilly, a journalist, will be hosting the show.
I'm talking to Lydia Bronte.